VanLuuXuong, having learned from Tudip about the disappearance of Dithan, was listening to a recording of Vuong Bakangbia's voice. She was hiding in the shadows, realizing the danger she narrowly avoided. The recording revealed Fie's betrayal, and she contemplated the intricate relationships within MacXahn's world. As VanLuuXuong approached the group outside, VanLuuXuong sarcastically thanked her for her timely arrival. VanLuuXuong stayed calm, noticing MacXahn's nonchalant reaction. Fie tried to manipulate the situation, offering forgiveness to MacXahn if he changed his mind, but he remained indifferent. The battle outside continued, and suddenly an alarm sounded. A bullet flew towards VanLuuXuong, but MacXahn pushed her away, urging her to leave. He instructed her not to reveal her ability to turn invisible, fearing it could bring harm to her. As VanLuuXuong hesitated, MacXahn's subordinates dealt with the enemy. MacXahn then told VanLuuXuong to leave while he took care of other matters. VanLuuXuong worried about MacXahn's safety, but decided to follow his instructions. On the way out, she noticed the absence of MacXanh Thien and wondered if something had happened to her. VanLuuXuong directed her subordinates to protect MacXahn, emphasizing that she didn't need protection herself. Outside the mansion, VanLuuXuong faced VanLuuXuong's gratitude. Meanwhile, she was conflicted about her role in MacXahn's world. She realized she might be a burden to him and contemplated leaving. Calling MacXanh Thien for assistance, VanLuuXuong nervously asked for help to arrange transportation to the airport. MacXanh Thien, delighted to hear from her, affectionately referred to her as Holy No. VanLuuXuong, feeling pressured, wondered why everyone seemed to use that term. However, she pressed on, requesting MacXanh Thien's help in arranging her departure. VanLuuXuong, still uneasy about MacXanh Thien's nickname, expressed her gratitude and hung up. She considered the danger of dealing with both MacXahn and his enemies. On her way to the airport, VanLuuXuong worried about MacXahn's well-being and wondered if he could handle the situation without her. The battle had left her questioning the loyalty of those around her and the motives of MacXahn's enemies. MacXanh Thien led a clean-up crew on the battleground, and Etair, overwhelmed by the opposing force, chose to take his own life. MacXanh Thien instructed her subordinates to keep him alive to avoid complications with Stoston's group. Meanwhile, inside the mansion, MacXahn sat on the sofa, appearing indifferent. His bodyguard, frightened, hesitated to speak, but eventually apologized for not knowing when VanLuuXuong had left. MacXahn dismissed him, and MacXanh Thien expressed her anger, questioning his concern for VanLuuXuong. MacXahn explained that VanLuuXuong had not betrayed him. She had risked her life to save him before. MacXanh Thien doubted the efficiency of the security system, but MacXahn insisted that VanLuuXuong knew the layout well, allowing her to escape undetected. Thinking about the events, MacXahn acknowledged that VanLuuXuong had a unique way of escaping unrelated to the security system. MacXanh Thien seemed frustrated, suspecting VanLuuXuong of using some enchantment on MacXahn. VanLuuXuong, on her way to the airport, considered contacting MacXahn to check on him. However, she discovered she didn't have his phone number and felt frustrated. Just as she was contemplating her next move, MacXahn called her, asking where she was. Relieved to hear his voice, VanLuuXuong informed him about her location. MacXahn, sounding displeased, asked about her business. VanLuuXuong, feeling a bit hurt, explained that she needed assistance and didn't want him involved. MacXahn insisted on helping, causing VanLuuXuong to express her feelings about their complicated relationship. As the conversation ended, VanLuuXuong felt a cold emptiness within. Meanwhile, MacXahn pondered whether he truly cared for her. VanLuuXuong wondered about the sudden attention she received from MacXanh Thien, starting from the incident with the glass sphere. At the airport, VanLuuXuong met a man named Nhan Hang, who informed her that MacXanh Thien had sent him to assist her. On the flight, MacXanh reflected on the recent events and her changing appearance after encountering the glass sphere. Arriving home, she learned that DithanLay had faced some issues. At MacXanh's mansion, VanLuuXuong reported to MacXanh about MacXanh's arrival. MacXanh, still searching for MacXanh, ordered the employee to investigate. VanLuuXuong expressed curiosity about the relationship between MacXanh and MacXanh Thien, finding it unusual that MacXanh Thien had requested his help. As MacXanh prepared to rest, VanLuuXuong, intrigued by her mysterious background, wondered if she and MacXanh Thien were truly just friends. MacXanh, tired and annoyed, dismissed his inquiries and left to get some rest. VanLuuXuong, left alone, pondered the complexities surrounding MacXanh and MacXanh. MacXanh, holding the business card, teased VanLuuXuong about the valuable personal information he had given her, joking that he wasn't afraid she might sell it for money. VanLuuXuong, pushing up his glasses, assured her that he would settle accounts with MacXanh Thien for her actions. As MacXanh pondered the recent turn of events, VanLuuXuong mentioned that MacXanh Thien seemed to be aware of his weaknesses. MacXanh playfully commented on his dark and mysterious demeanor, to which VanLuuXuong responded confidently. Dip, joining the conversation, informed MacXanh about the police investigation. The police found no signs of forced entry, kidnapping, or theft at Dithan's house. Dip mentioned receiving a threatening phone call warning her not to involve the police, and she decided not to report the incident. MacXanh, suspecting foul play, examined Dithan's house and noticed signs of someone searching for something. Dip recalled receiving a threatening call, making her hesitant to involve the police. Hancock, Dip's brother, entered the scene, expressing his anger at MacXanh for not informing him earlier. VanLuuXuong, surprised by the situation, questioned MacXanh's intentions, and whether she considered him a family member. Dip explained the mysterious call, and Hancock urged them to prepare for action. Later, at the specified location, MacXanh and Hancock discussed their plan. MacXanh revealed her intention to cut off the power for 10 minutes to create a distraction. Hancock questioned the effectiveness of the plan, but MacXanh assured him it would work. They prepared to execute their strategy at the entrance of the mansion. Meanwhile, VanLuuXuong reported to MacXanh about VanLuuXuong's investigation into MacXanh. MacXanh instructed his subordinates to follow her and learn more. VanLuuXuong expressed suspicion about MacXanh being a normal journalist, considering the attention from both MacXanh Thien and MacXanh. At Dithan's house, MacXanh and Hancock observed the surroundings and planned to cut the power. Dip warned about the potential danger, and Hancock questioned the efficacy of the plan. MacXanh confidently assured him that it would create the distraction they needed. Approaching the mansion, MacXanh knocked on the door. A surprised elderly man opened the door, inviting her in. Inside, she encountered a girl sitting on the sofa who remarked on MacXanh's recent cosmetic surgery. MacXanh, irritated, questioned the girl about Dithan's whereabouts. The girl revealed that Dithan had been dealt with before her death, taunting MacXanh. The girl claimed that MacXanh's delay had led to Dithan's punishment. MacXanh, still focused on finding Dithan, ignored the taunts and inquired about her location. The girl, seemingly unfazed, continued to mock and provoked MacXanh. MacXanh held her tongue. "Please, if you want to deceive me, at least have some skills." Knowing that Dithan wasn't here, MacXanh asked in a cold tone, "Why did you lure me here?" The exposed girl stopped acting. "Oh, I invited you here to deal with you. I have no interest in what you have, so don't even think about it." MacXanh didn't understand what was going on. "I don't need that kind of garbage. Only you treat him like a treasure." Because of a man, You silently harmed me. Don't you feel stupid?" As she finished speaking, the entire house suddenly went dark. People around were in chaos, shouting about what happened. "Help! Ah!" One subordinate ran to activate the backup power, pulling out a switchblade. The room lit up again as he turned on the backup power. The subordinates looked towards the frozen girl. VanLuuXuong held a knife to her throat, threatening, "Step back or review. Give her to me. If not, I can't guarantee she'll survive." The girl screamed, "I'm the boss at ManhWa Corporation. If you kill me, it means you're against ManhWa Corporation." VanLuuXuong, infuriated, said, "Don't be foolish. An old boss can represent the entire ManhWa Corporation. Haven't you woken up yet?" Before she could finish her words, the entire house exploded. In the confusion, VanLuuXuong disappeared in front of her. The room fell into darkness again. Realizing that VanLuuXuong had taken advantage of the power cut to escape, the girl, now at her enemy's house at midnight, screamed like a ghost. The terrified enemy, unable to endure, shouted for help. VanLuuXuong left the mansion with satisfaction. MacXanh hurriedly approached, asking, "What happened to Dithan?" VanLuuXuong took out a letter from her pocket and said, "Dithan is not with their group. She left on her own." "Read her letter." MacXanh asked, "What does the letter say? What happened?" VanLuuXuong, tense, replied, "Nothing. Dithan told me not to look for her." MacXanh, seeing that VanLuuXuong seemed uneasy, expressed concern. "Are you okay? Why do you look so worried?" VanLuuXuong thought to herself, "I can't let him know that I'm a fox spirit." She replied, "I'm fine. Let's go back. Today's matter is related to that scum." Halangmin, returning, helped me pay attention to Tovin. MacXanh agreed. "Okay." In that night, MacXanh also arrived in the city. The next day, VanLuuXuong went to the editorial office. The office already knew about her mission. This time, it was too dangerous. The director, without saying anything, instructed her to go. Today, she didn't need to do anything else. She had to clarify this matter. Her colleagues looked at her with strange eyes. Ignoring them, she went straight to the office. The director found the door locked. VanLuuXuong rushed over to greet her. "VanLuuXuong, did you finish your business trip?" VanLuuXuong asked if the director was not in. VanLuuXuong pulled her aside and whispered, "The director told you to wait outside. He said seducing men instead of working will get you fired." VanLuuXuong, annoyed. To take advantage of my absence, they spread false rumors. I was outside almost killed by someone. Whose fault is it? VanLuuXuong comforted her. "Don't be angry. The director went to a Peter Corporation meeting, saying they want to buy the newspaper. He's over there now." VanLuuXuong was startled. "Buy the newspaper?" She quickly opened her phone to check Peter Corporation. Why would they suddenly want to buy their small newspaper? VanLuuXuong tried to console her. "If you want to discuss it with him, call me. I don't believe you leave your job." VanLuuXuong thanked VanLuuXuong, but said, "This is my own matter. I'd rather handle it myself." She turned and left. Today, even if it's just for a meal, she couldn't let it affect others. VanLuuXuong stayed in the lobby of the Peter Corporation. MacXanh stood in front of the window with a cold look. MacXanh walked up and said, "You're finally here. Why not just capture her? She pretends to buy the newspaper." MacXanh sneered, "Why should I go capture her? I have to wait for her to fall into the trap herself." MacXanh sarcastically said, "Oh, being deceived a few times makes you smart now. This time, are you planning to be the master of the game?" MacXanh glared at him. "Who's the master? I made a mistake. I don't dare to joke with you anymore. Those small shrimps at the newspaper are waiting for you to come to the meeting." Hurry up, MacXanh, conquer the cunning fox. Under the Peter Corporation building. VanLuuXuong looked at the tall building in front of her and thought, this is probably where she's prepared to fight. Today, I must ask the director clearly. It's obvious the girl wants revenge on the boss. Prepare for a big showdown while he's in a meeting. Entering the building, she was welcomed by two beautiful receptionists. VanLuuXuong quickly approached and greeted the receptionist. I'm a reporter from Thanfong editorial office. I'm here to find our chief editor. Here's my press pass. The receptionist replied, the chief editors are in a meeting on the 20th floor. You can wait until the meeting is over. VanLuuXuong hastily responded, I can't wait. I have urgent business. I must see the chief editor now. She thought to herself, if I wait for the meeting to end, there might be nothing left to disrupt. The receptionist hesitated, and another colleague suggested, don't let her up. If she causes trouble, what about the chairman's cleanliness? His office is on the upper floor. VanLuuXuong, hearing about the chairman's cleanliness issue, couldn't help but wonder why she seemed to encounter people with cleanliness issues everywhere. As she was lost in thought, the two receptionists finished negotiating. Apologizing, they invited her to wait for a moment. If there's any mistake when you go up, we might lose our jobs. VanLuuXuong, hearing this, left angrily, thinking, I won't give up. Looking at their back, they seemed to be scheming. I'll come back later. They can't escape this time. After a while, a janitor pushing a cart passed by the two receptionists. Before them, he said, I think she'll come back. She seems to be calculating something. Don't let her go up. She might ruin the chairman's matters. The receptionist replied, I think you're right. I'll go and apologize. You watch the situation. A moment later, the janitor asked for forgiveness, and the receptionist let VanLuuXuong go up. VanLuuXuong thought, I won't give up. Even if it's just for a meal, I have to let the entire Peter Corporation know their chairman's true face. But first, let me find Director Ko who harmed me. How dare he harm me? I won't let him be at peace. I have to let the whole Peter Corporation know about him. As she entered the elevator, she felt relieved. Now it's time to find Director Ko and settle the score. However, as soon as she left the restroom, she was seen by someone. It was MacXanh Thien. He greeted her. Long time no see. What brings you here? VanLuuXuong was surprised. Why are you here? But before she could comprehend, another man approached. MacXanh. In her mind, she thought, I really don't want to meet him. We shouldn't have any connection. But why does it feel a bit satisfying to see him? MacXanh, noticing her silence, said coldly, I said you're mine. I don't allow you to leave. Remember your place. Hearing him talk, she thought, men speak so much. If you don't open your mouth, it's like a wise sage. Just one sentence, and you're a king. She turned to leave, and MacXanh Thien, not wanting to see them argue, intervened. There are other things at the Thanfong editorial office, but there's also a man waiting downstairs looking for Miss Fan. Which one do you want to solve first? VanLuuXuong was confused. Who is looking for me? MacXanh Thien started to act. Seems like a young brother named Han Con-hak. VanLuuXuong silently cursed, definitely too deep, fearing that I would encounter trouble, so she instructed Han Con-hak to come here. MacXanh, seeing VanLuuXuong protecting her brother, felt jealous and couldn't look directly at them. What should he do? His eyes seemed terrifying. MacXanh Thien commented, his personality is a bit rough. Too rough indeed, but being too rough, he has to handle it. She hesitated, then with a calm face replied, he's my cousin, not my brother. I thought he might have lost his way. I'm going to find him. Don't bother. MacXanh, hearing her defending her cousin, suddenly felt his dark mood lighten. He tried to be cold. All right, Go find him then. But don't let him disturb me. Otherwise, I won't be merciful." MacXanh teased, "See, his temper is quite harsh. Indeed, too harsh. It's hard to handle." Thinking about MacXanh's harsh personality, VanLuuXuong couldn't help but laugh inside. She managed to say, "Sorry for causing trouble. I'll go downstairs to find MacXanh." Not daring to disturb his meeting further, MacXanh saw her leaving, so he quickly blocked her and said she couldn't leave and had to stay with him. VanLuuXuong, puzzled, asked why he was in such a hurry as there was still a legal meeting to attend. MacXanh, standing by, confirmed that the people from Than Phong newspaper were waiting for him. Hearing about Than Phong newspaper, VanLuuXuong was surprised and wondered if MacXanh was the clean and tidy chairman who bought Than Phong newspaper. She asked if he was the chairman of Peter Corporation, and MacXanh, pretending to be clueless, thought to herself about how MacXanh appeared to be a bit crazy. MacXanh, noticing VanLuuXuong's admiring eyes, immediately lifted his chin proudly, stating that Peter Corporation belonged to Hien Vien Corporation. He then entered the meeting room. VanLuuXuong, still puzzled, recalled her mother's question about MacXanh's attire. Inside the meeting room, the director quickly approached and greeted MacXanh. MacXanh Thien Xa welcomed him and mentioned that they hadn't finished their discussion. VanLuuXuong was still standing at the door, and MacXanh wondered how she managed to get in. The director was concerned that if VanLuuXuong caused trouble, it would affect their business. MacXanh shouted at VanLuuXuong, questioning why she dared to appear there, and accused her of misleading people outside the office. VanLuuXuong, instead of getting upset, laughed it off, sarcastically saying that MacXanh was the leader of the gangsters and a domineering tycoon, yet he liked an ordinary girl with nothing special. Little Dawn, raising her head, challenged MacXanh, asking if he heard her. MacXanh's subordinates argued back, leading to a heated exchange. The director tried to mediate, but MacXanh dismissed VanLuuXuong's words, claiming he was the guy at the end of the alley. He ordered his subordinates to leave. The director, realizing the mistake, tried to stop them, and MacXanh Thien Xa understood the misunderstanding. MacXanh apologized and asked VanLuuXuong not to be so aggressive. The director, moved to tears, thanked VanLuuXuong, praising her as the best journalist in the office. VanLuuXuong took out a voice recorder from her bag, reminding the director not to thank her too soon, as she had evidence that he intentionally hid the seriousness of the mission. She mentioned that she had ventured into a dangerous place and asked him to wait for her in jail. After saying this, she walked out. The others continued with their meeting, and VanLuuXuong heard the desperate cries. As VanLuuXuong left the meeting room, MacXanh followed her. VanLuuXuong turned around and noticed MacXanh's loosened tie. She adjusted it for him, thanked him, and said she was leaving. MacXanh, sitting in the office, watched as VanLuuXuong stood by the window, making a call to MacXanh, assuring him of her safety at Peter Corporation. MacXanh gestured for VanLuuXuong to stay, but she rejected his offer. He asked her not to stay away from him, looking serious. VanLuuXuong, feeling a bit awkward, stated that she was just an ordinary girl and didn't understand why he was so infatuated with her. MacXanh, confident, approached her with a captivating gaze, but VanLuuXuong, using her rationality, rejected him. MacXanh persisted, expressing his desire for her to be with him for the rest of his lonely life. VanLuuXuong, contemplating her cursed fate, mentioned her fortunate childhood with loving parents. MacXanh, rejecting the idea of fate, wanted her to stay with him. VanLuuXuong, despite his less than intelligent remarks, noticed the sincerity in his eyes. She reluctantly agreed, making MacXanh happy. However, she quickly regretted it and tried to cover her slip of the tongue, stating they should take it slow as there were still many issues between them. MacXanh, sensing her regret, turned dark. VanLuuXuong questioned why she agreed and then said they should just try it. VanLuuXuong, held tightly by MacXanh, endured the pain, asserting that the main issue was his arrogance. She set her own rules, emphasizing her need for freedom, work, and friendships. MacXanh, hearing her conditions, agreed that she didn't need to work, and he didn't need to reveal himself. However, VanLuuXuong prohibited any interaction with other guys. VanLuuXuong felt that MacXanh wouldn't give in to anything. She got frustrated and confronted him. "I don't want to be a bird locked in your cage. Do you understand?" she said. MacXanh responded coldly. VanLuuXuong sensed MacXahn's stiffness and boldly approached, questioning how he would feel if someone he cared about was forced into something they disliked. MacXanh, reminded of his mother, appeared naive. Feeling embarrassed, VanLuuXuong proposed a temporary truce, suggesting they start as friends. MacXanh, not agreeing, insisted she involve herself in his work and social circle. VanLuuXuong, standing firm, said they could at least live together temporarily to save money on rent. MacXanh, maintaining his icy demeanor, instructed her to find ManhWa while he prepared. VanLuuXuong sighed and agreed, mentioning she had questions for ManhWa. As VanLuuXuong left, a sudden call came for MacXanh. It was VA, repeatedly inquiring about his whereabouts and threatening to find him if he ignored her calls. MacXanh hung up abruptly. While VanLuuXuong conversed with ManhWa, she questioned where they found women's clothing. ManhWa, with a taunting tone, mentioned MacXanh search. VanLuuXuong quickly grasped the situation, thinking that this flirtatious character would bring a girl to the company. In no time, they reached Ko Sung Min's confinement room. ManhWa gestured for Miss Van to come over. Ko Sung Min, bruised and battered, warned VanLuuXuong that he was paid by Helan Min to harm her. VanLuuXuong, lost in thought about why someone would harm themselves after a breakup, walked away. ManhWa explained the sinister Ko Than Tho Bridge of Sighs, where rebels against MacXanh were punished. All who crossed it emitted a desperate sigh, earning its ominous name. VanLuuXuong, puzzled and skeptical, questioned this archaic form of punishment in their supposedly modern society. ManhWa advised VanLuuXuong to acquaint herself with MacXahn's world, where he held the power of life and death, with the Bridge of Sighs as an example. VanLuuXuong, despite understanding MacXahn's exceptional status, felt a chilling realization. ManhWa received a call about VA's inquiries into MacXahn's whereabouts, advising him to be cautious. VanLuuXuong, now MacXahn's junior, commented on the repetitive nature of MacXahn's interactions with others. VanLuuXuong proceeded to MacXahn's office, where an unexpected entrance led to MacXanh reprimanding her for not knocking. VanLuuXuong apologized and asked if she could find MacXanh. MacXanh, amused by the situation, commented on VanLuuXuong's haste, making light of MacXahn's supposed disease. MacXanh revealed that MacXanh was having some difficulties and suggested VanLuuXuong go upstairs to find him. VanLuuXuong, bewildered, inquired about MacXahn's situation. MacXanh, with a secretive tone, warned her of an upcoming romantic rival, leaving VanLuuXuong anxious. VanLuuXuong left MacXahn's office, wondering about MacXahn's state. As she approached MacXahn's office, he was informed of VA's persistent calls, causing him to abruptly end the conversation. VanLuuXuong, chatting with ManhWa about their shopping plans, wondered where they could find women's clothes. ManhWa, adopting a teasing tone, mentioned that MacXanh was handling it. Understanding the flirtatious nature of MacXanh, VanLuuXuong thought he was bringing a girl to the company. Soon, they arrived at Ko Sung Min's detention room. ManhWa signaled Miss Van to come forward. Ko Sung Min, visibly bruised, revealed that Helan Min had paid him to harm VanLuuXuong. Shocked by the idea of someone hurting themselves after a breakup, VanLuuXuong walked away in contemplation. ManhWa explained the existence of the ominous Tho Bridge of Sighs, where those opposing MacXanh faced punishment. Crossing the bridge led to a despairing sigh, earning it its eerie name. VanLuuXuong, skeptical and puzzled, questioned the use of such archaic punishment in their supposedly modern society. ManhWa advised VanLuuXuong to familiarize herself with MacXanh's world, where he held the power of life and death, using the Bridge of Sighs as an example. VanLuuXuong, despite understanding MacXanh's extraordinary status, felt a chilling realization. ManhWa received a call about PA's inquiries into MacXanh's whereabouts, cautioning him to be careful. VanLuuXuong, now MacXanh's subordinate, noted the repetitive nature of MacXanh's interactions with others. VanLuuXuong proceeded to MacXanh Thien's office, where her abrupt entrance led to a reprimand for not knocking. Apologizing, she asked if she could find MacXanh. MacXanh Thien, finding humor in the situation, commented on VanLuuXuong's urgency and made light of MacXanh's supposed ailment. MacXanh Thien hinted at MacXanh's current difficulties and suggested VanLuuXuong go upstairs to find him. Confused, she asked about MacXanh's situation. MacXanh Thien, in a secretive tone, warned her of an impending romantic rival, leaving VanLuuXuong anxious. VanLuuXuong lifted her head confidently, looking directly at MacXanh. He spoke coldly, "So, I'm warning you, miss. A smart girl like you will understand my words. I don't spare traitors." VanLuuXuong fell into contemplation, feeling that MacXanh was cautioning her in a very solemn manner. She sensed the need to obediently listen and avoid any reckless actions. She felt a bit uneasy, realizing the seriousness of MacXahn's warning. She had to be careful and not have any misguided intentions. During the day, he held the billion-dollar conglomerate in his hands, and a move from him could shake the world economy. At night, he was the underworld boss, ruthless and decisive in his killings. His success today undoubtedly came through a path soaked in blood. MacXanh wasn't the type to willingly tie himself down. Next to him was the Silver Fox, the last bloodline of the Fox clan, and she couldn't be easily manipulated. VanLuuXuong confronted MacXanh with a stern face, not yielding. "I also have a warning for you." MacXanh raised an eyebrow. "Oh, really? What warning does Miss have for me?" VanLuuXuong boldly replied, "Listen carefully. I'm not a child to be scared by a shout or a wealthy man to be easily bought off by you." As she spoke, VanLuuXuong's face showed her determination. "You may be rich and powerful during the day, but I won't be easily manipulated by you. Violence won't make me follow you. You rely on what to force me to be with you." MacXanh, maintaining his composure, retorted, "You dare to challenge me, huh? You're not afraid of me being violent with you." VanLuuXuong, undeterred, responded, "Why shouldn't I challenge you? I'm not afraid. You can't use violence to make me submit. Remember, if you harm me, it won't end well for you." MacXanh, looking serious, warned, "You've forgotten your place. You're my employee now." VanLuuXuong, pretending to realize it just now, said, "Oh, I forgot. Now you're my boss. But I resigned from my job, Mr. MacXanh. Miss Van is resigning from the position of the overbearing CEO because her company has been bought by a girl." MacXanh asked, "You want to resign?" VanLuuXuong confirmed, "Yes, I don't agree." MacXanh, with a dark expression, asked, "Where do you want to go?" VanLuuXuong replied, "I have personal matters to handle. I need to go now. Ko-sung-me is waiting for me. Just deal with it casually. You can hand him over to the police. Don't kill because of me." MacXanh logically stated, "You've forgotten, Miss Van. You're my employee now." VanLuuXuong, pretending to be shocked, said, "Oh, I forgot. Now you're my boss. But I resigned from my job, Mr. MacXanh." MacXanh grimaced, "Do you want to resign?" VanLuuXuong, with determination, stared at him. MacXanh, while annoyed, turned his face away. The secretary isn't here. VanLuuXuong, don't you know? VanLuuXuong questioned, when will the secretary be back? MacXanh replied, I don't know. VanLuuXuong, thinking to herself, this guy probably doesn't want me to resign. Then he'll put the blame on the secretary. MacXanh, stopping her, asked, where are you going? VanLuuXuong, surprised, asked, what are you doing? I have personal matters to attend to. You need to understand. MacXanh awkwardly said, you agreed to stay with me. Where are you going? VanLuuXuong reassured him, don't worry. I'll handle the things we agreed upon. But first, I have to deal with my own matters. MacXanh let her go, and VanLuuXuong quickly left. In her thoughts, she remarked, he's ghastly, but his expression is clear. Despite his age, he's still cute like a child. She walked towards the elevator, took out her phone, and saw a message from MacXanh Thien. He said, I've arrived in City S. VanLuuXuong felt exasperated. Why is he chasing me here? At that moment, her phone rang, and she answered. ManhWa greeted her, and VanLuuXuong recognized his voice. He asked if she remembered him, and she replied with a surprised tone. ManhWa mentioned that he had seen her pictures before and noticed the difference in her appearance now. VanLuuXuong joked about her cosmetic surgery, and ManhWa expressed doubt about her answer. Changing the subject, he asked if she knew someone named Tiu Dun. She confirmed, and ManhWa insinuated about Miss Van's exceptional skills in escaping from bodyguards and disappearing from a sealed mansion. He questioned the mystery behind Miss Van's identity and her approach to MacXanh Thien. VanLuuXuong, unimpressed, told him to talk to MacXanh Thien if he thought that way. She thanked him and hung up, leaving ManhWa frustrated. VanLuuXuong chuckled to herself, thinking, if you think I'm approaching MacXanh Thien, go talk to him. I appreciate it, thanks. VanLuuXuong jolted in surprise. You said you knew Dithan's information. Is it true or just a trick? ManhWa replied, if you want to know, wait for 2 more hours. Meet me at the Dinthing coffee shop on Taehung Street. Saying this, he hung up, leaving VanLuuXuong bewildered. The person seemed suspicious, and she wondered if she should meet him alone. Luckily, she was popular among wealthy young men at the editorial office. VanLuuXuong gathered her personal belongings. Deep asked, have the bosses at the office finished talking? Heard you dealt with Ko Sun-min. Is it true you're also dating the handsome chairman? VanLuuXuong sighed, dismissing the rumors and saying, if Ko Sun-min gets caught one day, it's because of his own illegal activities. It has nothing to do with me or the handsome chairman. Deep questioned her actions, and VanLuuXuong explained that she wanted a change in her life. As they talked, a colleague teased, mentioning a recent cosmetic surgery that didn't quite erase the scent of poverty. Deep was about to start a fight, but VanLuuXuong stopped her. MacXanh Thien, the handsome chairman, entered the scene, addressing VanLuuXuong. She was surprised to see him and asked about her father's health. MacXanh Thien assured her that her father was fine and that it was just a minor illness. He then offered to accompany her, and they left together. During their conversation, VanLuuXuong asked about MacXanh Thien's sudden appearance. He explained that he had sent her a message and came to help her. VanLuuXuong was taken aback and said her thanks. MacXanh Thien joked about her addressing him as Mr. Mackie, and she should call him Thien from now on. They reached the cafe where ManhWa was waiting. Seeing MacXanh Thien, he was surprised and wondered why he had come. Meanwhile, at the Peter MacXanh conglomerate, MHA reported that they had traced the assassins and suspected the involvement of Anrubaya and Remesi. MacXanh was furious, regretting not being informed earlier. Back at the cafe, MacXanh Thien teased ManhWa about carrying VanLuuXuong's belongings, to which he replied with a joke about sacrificing his image for a beautiful smile. VanLuuXuong lightened the mood and they proceeded to discuss their business. ManhWa mentioned that he needed MacXanh Thien's help, and VanLuuXuong intervened, asking if she could go now. ManhWa agreed, and VanLuuXuong thanked him. As they left, VanLuuXuong asked about her debt to MacXanh Thien. He responded with seriousness, advising her to return to her friend to avoid potential conflicts. VanLuuXuong thanked him, feeling indebted to him. MacXanh pushed the door open and sternly asked, "Why are you here?" VanLuuXuong turned around, thinking to herself, "Oh no, this jealous god is here." ManhWa saw MacXahn's face darken and stood up, saying, "Mr. Mac, how did you end up in such a place?" VanLuuXuong, sensing tension, quickly tried to explain, "Listen, it's like this. I heard MacXanh wants to meet this beautiful girl, so I came to help them out." ManhWa saw MacXahn's serious expression and asked, "Is this small cafe the reason you came all the way here?" VanLuuXuong, feeling the need to resolve the situation, fabricated a story. "Mr. MacXanh had a date with this girl, and I just happened to come to assist them." ManhWa looked at VanLuuXuong skeptically. "Oh, so you're the one who escaped from Mr. MacXahn's grasp last time, making him remember you forever." MacXanh ignored the comment, pulling VanLuuXuong with him, saying, "Let's go." VanLuuXuong turned back, saying, "Wait for me a moment. My box is still there." As VanLuuXuong retrieved her box, ManhWa caused a scene again, saying, "Mr. Mac, you really can't forget about this girl, huh? The more you resist, the more you can't forget her." MacXanh remained cold, and VanLuuXuong couldn't help but think that this guy is really something. "I thought he was a playboy, but it seems he has some feelings," she mused. As they walked out, ManhWa continued his provocation, mentioning MacXanh violating the fox's destiny and insinuating that only one girl would willingly stay by his side. VanLuuXuong had had enough and intervened, saying, "Enough already. Let's go." ManhWa continued to taunt MacXanh, but they ignored him and left. MacXanh, somewhat disappointed, asked VanLuuXuong why she had sought MacXanh Thien's help instead of him. VanLuuXuong reassured him, "I thought about it. You may not know much about cosmetics. Do you even know how to distinguish lipstick colors?" MacXanh, feeling a bit embarrassed, stayed silent. VanLuuXuong comforted him, saying, "Don't worry about it. You have your strengths. Not everyone knows everything." They continued their conversation, and MacXanh couldn't help but feel touched by VanLuuXuong's understanding. He thought about MacXanh Thien, who, despite being good to him, made him uneasy. MacXanh realized that, despite VanLuuXuong's teasing, he felt a sense of security with her. Later, at a cafe, ManhWa confronted MacXanh Thien, asking why he had involved VanLuuXuong. MacXanh Thien revealed his mission to bring down the Thien Corporation, and how VanLuuXuong's presence was meant to expose her relationship with MacXanh. MacXanh Thien warned ManhWa about VanLuuXuong's revenge for her ex-boyfriend and her midnight visit, creating an eerie atmosphere. Meanwhile, MacXanh Thien entered the cafe, offering VanLuuXuong the items she needed. VanLuuXuong thanked him, and MacXanh Thien casually mentioned the small matter, causing MacXanh to question why VanLuuXuong hadn't asked him for help. VanLuuXuong playfully teased him about his lack of knowledge in cosmetics, leaving MacXanh contemplating his dark childhood. As they left the cafe, VanLuuXuong intended to carry out a playful game to lighten the mood and take MacXanh back to his childhood. MacXanh, still puzzled, asked what she had in mind. VanLuuXuong reassured him that it would be a simple and fun game to bring back some childhood memories. The scene transitioned to Halanmin's house, where VanLuuXuong and MacXanh arrived, greeted by Halanmin in his sleepwear. The sudden power outage surprised Halanmin, and the sound of a horn echoed, leaving everyone startled. Halanmin turned around and asked, "Who's there? Who's there?" He dialed his phone, looking at a white figure in the moonlight. The white figure slowly approached. Min was all goosebumps. Help! Help! He panicked, dropping his phone to the ground. It's VanLuuXuong, I see her. Don't pretend to be a ghost with me, he said, trying to stay calm, but he was still trembling. Why are you here? Min asked, as VanLuuXuong, cold and distant, responded, Why did you kill me? Min tried to remain calm and laughed. Who did you deceive? I know you appeared at the company today. You're not dead. Are you planning to threaten me with something? But as he approached, VanLuuXuong disappeared. Min, scared, wondered how it was possible. This world cannot have what cannot be, he thought. Suddenly, VanLuuXuong appeared behind him. She coldly grabbed his shoulder, asking, Why won't you let me go? VanLuuXuong moved towards Min's back, placing her hand on his shoulder, and asked, Why won't you let me go? Her voice sounded like it echoed from hell, extremely sinister. Min, terrified, cried out, and chaos ensued. Seizing the opportunity, VanLuuXuong expressed her resentment. I used to be your fiancé. I thought you'd be with me for a lifetime. But not only did you betray me, you also sought to harm me. Why? Each question, each accusation made Min collapse. VanLuuXuong's growing anger resonated. Why? Min, frightened, knelt down, saying, Don't come any closer. I surrender, and I have money. He paid me a lot of money. VanLuuXuong seized the moment to question, Who paid him to kill me? Min, trembling, replied, MacXanh Thien. I only remember that name. I don't know anything else. MacXanh, outside, couldn't hear any more. Suddenly entering, Min was caught off guard, and before he could react, MacXanh kicked him in the face. The scene caused an immediate commotion. MacXanh picked up the foreign phone, checked the call history, and found MacXanh Thien's number. Conveniently, he dialed and heard, I'm sorry, the number you dialed does not exist. MacXanh frowned. He didn't expect this person to catch on so quickly. Deleting all traces beforehand, it seemed he was cautious. At this moment, VanLuuXuong was still somewhat sad, leaving the scene alone. MacXanh followed her. Both walked on the main road, MacXanh looking at her disappointed figure, feeling sympathy. He comforted her, saying, If you want to cry, you can cry. Don't be sad for him. He's not worth your tears. VanLuuXuong wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and said, I'm not sad for him. I'm sad because I used to be blind. MacXanh hugged her, stroking her long hair. VanLuuXuong looked at the man in front of her with deep emotion. MacXanh, with a blank expression, couldn't find words, but he could feel the hidden tenderness. Thinking this way, VanLuuXuong unconsciously leaned in and kissed MacXanh like a lone, proud she-wolf. MacXanh, indeed, the word wicked is no longer suitable to describe you, she said, a girl with a miraculous potion that could cure any poison in the world. On the way back, VanLuuXuong touched up her makeup and said, Why not have some fun tonight? I've invited you. Should I pay for the performance? MacXanh asked how much, and VanLuuXuong, acting mysteriously, replied, You don't need to ask anything. Are you afraid that I'm the type of girl digging for gold? MacXanh, acting foolish, said, I only need you. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you. If you spend all the money, I can earn it back. The sudden sincerity made VanLuuXuong stunned. MacXanh continued, And besides, you're all mine. What does my money have to do with yours? VanLuuXuong's eyes lit up. Indeed, a wealthy person. MacXanh didn't answer her question, his face darkening. He said, Don't let others know that you can disappear. My mom also has special abilities, and her life is hard because people know about it. I don't want the same for you. VanLuuXuong turned back, asking in surprise, What happened to your mom? MacXanh, in deep thought for a moment, said, I will help you find MacXanh Thien. VanLuuXuong didn't ask any further, feeling more affection for MacXanh. The next day at the mansion, VanLuuXuong casually stood on the balcony, reminiscing about MacXanh. The day before, VanLuuXuong had fallen into contemplation. Just mentioning MacXahn's mom made him wear such an expression. She must be the most important person to him, similar to Dithan with herself. However, now that she had found this, the result was no trace of any clues. Dithan had wanted to leave a cure for her before. Remembering when she was young, Dithan held a small bottle and said, "The Fox clan has a difficult fate. Keep this bottle for emergencies." VanLuuXuong, inquisitive, asked, "What is that?" Dithan replied, "It's a type of elixir passed down in our family, capable of neutralizing any poison in the world." VanLuuXuong quickly declined, but Dithan insisted, "This is a family heirloom, very precious. You should keep it. You never know when you might need it." Lost in thought, VanLuuXuong felt there was no trace left by Dithan, just the elixir. The housekeeper suddenly approached, saying, "Miss Van, please come and change. The auction is about to begin." VanLuuXuong hesitated, but the housekeeper assured her that the dress was ready. Reluctantly, she followed. After changing into a long, light purple dress, adorned with exquisite jewelry, VanLuuXuong felt like a fairy. The elegant gown accentuated her delicate features. Waving her hand, she said to MacXanh, "I've never met wealthy aristocrats before. I'm not familiar with their rules. Don't let me embarrass you." MacXanh, indulgent, replied, "Even if you turn the entire room upside down, it doesn't matter. You belong to me, and my people don't need to follow the rules of others." He confidently hugged VanLuuXuong and walked away. Feeling safe in his embrace, VanLuuXuong followed him into the grand hall. Their entrance attracted the attention of those around. VanLuuXuong, slightly nervous, wondered if MacXanh bringing her along was to define their relationship. Alangmian had never taken her to a party before. It was her first time in such a place, and she didn't want to make MacXanh lose face. VanLuuXuong bit her lip, thinking, "Let it be. Whoever cares, cares." Determinedly, she walked with MacXanh. In the hall, amidst lively conversations, a young man radiating brightness appeared. He was Simon Bayer, MacXahn's cousin. Simon greeted MacXanh with a smile, expressing surprise that he wasn't alone. VanLuuXuong stood by, slightly confused about the sudden appearance of family members. Simon, seemingly carefree, engaged in a conversation with VanLuuXuong. MacXanh, however, didn't pay any attention, turning his face away. Simon explained that MacXahn's family was complex, not just within the Bayer Corporation, but also without any romantic rumors. VanLuuXuong felt the awkwardness in MacXahn's expression and remembered Simon as the mischievous boy from her childhood wielding a whip. VanLuuXuong was surprised at how obediently she held her hand, recalling seeing Ketiknan's name in the news. Ketiknan approached them and, upon seeing MacXanh, inquired if there was any feud between them. MacXahn's face darkened, and he expressed that he only hated his inability to kill Ketiknan. VanLuuXuong, noting MacXahn's anger, realized the complexity of his family. As the event continued, a beautiful girl approached them, making casual conversation about Diamond, the renowned tycoon. VanLuuXuong, feeling uneasy, saw MacXanh ignoring the girl and walking away. Later, VanLuuXuong recognized the girl as Ketiknan from the news, known as the daughter of the Asian shipping king. Feeling awkward, she thought, "This guy is something else. I thought he was a tough guy." In the midst of it all, a plate of desserts appeared, and Simon joked, offering to help her grab as many as she wanted. VanLuuXuong thanked him, and Simon playfully suggested that she wanted to escape from MacXanh. He continued teasing, implying that MacXanh was too cold, contrasting the gentle and considerate Simon. MacXanh, having left with another man, made VanLuuXuong feel abandoned. Simon approached her, stating that he knew she always wanted to escape from MacXanh. VanLuuXuong, puzzled, considered the strange dynamics within MacXahn's family. Simon hinted at the possibility of helping her escape from MacXanh. The scene unfolded with MacXanh leaving with another man, and VanLuuXuong perplexed by the unfolding events. VanLuuXuong sighed, responding to him, "You're not wrong, Simon." Upon hearing that, Simon immediately began to play the spy game. "Miss Van, I know you've escaped from him twice. It's impressive, but it seems you haven't succeeded yet. Quite pitiable." VanLuuXuong, unfazed by his nonsense, calmly took a bite of her pastry. Simon noticed the lack of reaction and started questioning her feelings about his dangerous older cousin. "I've heard he's quite terrifying, willing to eliminate his own relatives. If I don't have my father's protection, I might have been on the chopping block by now. So, Miss Van, running away would be a wise decision. Being beautiful like you, it would be a waste to be played to death by him. If you decide to run, I can help you escape." VanLuuXuong, not bothered by his words, took another bite of her pastry. Simon, feeling uneasy about the situation, started talking about the dangers of dealing with his older cousin. He emphasized the ruthlessness and potential harm to his own family. Miss Van, not paying much attention to Simon, casually responded, "I appreciate your concern, but my choices in life are my own. I don't need you to pretend to be kind. I despise people interfering in my affairs, especially those I haven't permitted. If you want to help, stay away. I hate people speaking ill of me. If you come close, I'll serve you another plate." VanLuuXuong, a bit surprised, choked on her pastry, unable to say anything. Simon, realizing something was amiss, looked at MacXanh approaching. Simon quickly diverted the situation, offering a plate to VanLuuXuong to feign a kiss. VanLuuXuong, still shocked, unintentionally accepted the plate. Simon, amused, joked about the charming relationship between him and his beautiful cousin. He even suggested that she might prefer Simon over him. VanLuuXuong, irritated, vented her frustration by throwing a piece of pastry at Simon's face. Caught off guard, Simon turned into a mobile cake. The scene drew the attention of MacXanh Thien Xa and the onlookers. VanLuuXuong, still angry, threw another piece of pastry at him, turning Simon into a cake-covered spectacle. MacXanh, seeing the situation, intervened and stopped VanLuuXuong. "That's enough, VanLuuXuong. Simon will learn his lesson. But not now. We'll deal with him slowly. Let him struggle a bit. It's not fun if he dies too easily." VanLuuXuong, embarrassed by her outburst, turned away. MacXanh reassured her and explained that the last item in the auction was something their deceased mother had desired. It was likely the final auction item, and MacXanh intended to bid on it. VanLuuXuong, trying to lighten the mood, commented on the wait for the last item, suggesting they eat first. MacXanh, maintaining his cold demeanor, refused to eat the shared food, stating it was unclean. VanLuuXuong, still feeling uncomfortable, insisted that MacXanh eat. However, he declined, expressing concerns about the cleanliness. VanLuuXuong, frustrated, decided to eat alone, emphasizing that the meat was freshly cut and untouched. MacXanh remained unmoved, remembering his difficult childhood and his mother's persistence in feeding him despite others wanting him dead. He hesitated but eventually succumbed to his memories, wiping away tears, and reluctantly took a bite. Reflecting on the past, MacXanh struggled with his emotions, remembering the times when he cried from hunger and his mother's determination to keep him alive. The memory pushed him to eat the offered food, realizing that not everyone despised him. In the end, VanLuuXuong felt sympathy for MacXanh and acknowledged that he had endured a challenging upbringing. The awkward moment brought a strange understanding between them, and MacXanh, despite his tough exterior, had a VanLuuXuong, seeing that MacXanh had eaten, smiled and asked, "What would you like to eat? I can get more for you." MacXanh remained silent, gazing at her with a deep, thoughtful expression. After a moment, the auction started, and the auctioneer invited everyone to move to their designated seats. The first item of the night was introduced, and the crowd enthusiastically began bidding. VanLuuXuong, turning her attention to the auction, found herself captivated by a beautiful piece. She expressed a desire to own a pair of MacXanh rings, but lamented the high cost, stating that she might never afford them in her lifetime. Suddenly, MacXanh raised the bidding paddle and confidently placed a bid of 1,500,000. VanLuuXuong was surprised and asked him how he could afford it. MacXanh coldly replied, "What does it matter? Do you want it?" The two engaged in a brief argument, but MacXanh won the bid. As the auctioneer moved on to the final item, the Hodian bingo card, the atmosphere became tense. The starting bid was announced at 100,000, and the audience eagerly participated. VanLuuXuong, realizing the card's importance to MacXanh, was curious if it was the item he needed. MacXanh confidently bid 1,500,000 again. VanLuuXuong was puzzled and asked how he knew that this was the item he wanted. MacXanh calmly replied, "I bought it already. Next time, I'll take you to see it." VanLuuXuong was left stunned. The auctioneer announced that MacXanh had successfully won the last item. As the attention shifted, the room suddenly plunged into darkness. Panic ensued as people speculated about a power outage or a possible threat. Amidst the chaos, VanLuuXuong sensed something was amiss and turned around. She noticed a gun pointed at the crowd from outside the window and shouted a warning. MacXanh quickly pushed her to the ground, and bullets flew over their heads. As the crowd panicked, MacXanh assured VanLuuXuong, "Stay here. Don't move. With me around, no harm will come to you." He then stood up and ran towards the danger. Concerned, VanLuuXuong wanted to follow, but MacXanh had already disappeared. ManhWa, noticing her worry, comforted her and explained that it wouldn't be safe for her to go after him. As VanLuuXuong pondered her next move, she saw a figure stealing the MacXanh card. Realizing its importance to MacXanh, she decided to pursue the thief. Running through the large room, she entered a deserted area and noticed someone behind her. The mysterious girl approached, revealing herself as a fellow Ho-Yu, a member of the prestigious Ho clan. She casually handed the stolen card to VanLuuXuong, mentioning that it was useless to her. Before VanLuuXuong could ask more questions, the girl disappeared through a window, leaving VanLuuXuong bewildered. Returning to her senses, VanLuuXuong clutched the MacXanh card, thinking about its significance to MacXanh. However, her thoughts were interrupted as another Ho-Yu, seemingly weaker than herself, appeared. This Ho-Yu mocked her for being weak and cautioned her about MacXanh and MacXanh Thien, suggesting they were formidable opponents. With a swift farewell, the girl vanished through the window, leaving VanLuuXuong standing alone, her heart heavy with concern for MacXanh. As she prepared to leave, she noticed that MacXanh had reappeared, and he inquired about her well-being. The two shared a moment, and VanLuuXuong felt a mixture of relief and worry.